Good morning. This is KELOLAND on the go with all you need to know in news and weather as you start your day.
An 80-year-old Sioux Falls man will not have to stand trial for the brutal murder of an elderly woman back in 1974.
The Minnesota Court of Appeals ruled that Algene Vossen is not mentally competent to stand trial for the killing of Mabel Herman of Wilmer, Minnesota. The judges sided with the lower court, saying 2 of 3 mental health experts who evaluated Vossen testified he suffers from severe memory loss.
The problem, I think, in this case is not that he didn't understand what a court proceeding is or what a judicial proceeding is, but that when witnesses start taking the stand, he doesn't have any ability to digest the information as it is coming into court to assist his counsel in his own defense at trial. That's the finding by the district court.
Vossen will be evaluated now for civil commitment, where he would be institutionalized in a mental health care facility for the rest of his life. A local banker is challenging people across the state to help the town of Castlewood after it was hit by a tornado last week. First Premier Bank recently announced a relief fund for the community and donated the first $50,000.
The company now wants others to do the same. Why the tornado hit close to home for First Premier Bank, and details on how you can donate tonight on KELOLAND News.
Well, now let's send it over to meteorologist Scott Munn for a check of our morning forecast. Good morning, Scott.
All right, good morning, Sarah. Good morning, everybody. Areas of fog this morning will slowly leave. We'll have sunshine and we'll have warm temperatures too. Numbers in the 70s and 80s for afternoon highs. There's a storm system to our south, and that will stay to our south. We are watching a cold front that can bring in a chance for a couple of scattered showers, thunder showers mainly for tomorrow. I'd say late in the day, tomorrow, late afternoon, and going through the evening in eastern KELOLAND, and things will remain widely scattered. Here's our visibility reports coming in a mile or less, and that's covering much of eastern South Dakota. The visibility will improve as we go through the morning, and temperatures will warm. 70s and 80s for highs. More details on your forecast with Brian coming up.
Thank you, Scott. 2 candidates running for the District 4 seat in the Iowa House of Representatives both started their political careers at a young age.
Kendall Zylstra recently graduated from Dordt University. For the past 5 months, he has been running a campaign while also being a full-time student. He encourages his peers to get involved in their government.
Get as actively involved as you possibly can. Whether that is running for office or whether that isn't, we need people who are actively involved, people who are getting people out to vote, people who are voting themselves, people who are engaging with the issues and trying to make a difference.
He's running against incumbent Republican Skylar Wheeler, who was recently endorsed by Governor Kim Reynolds. Wheeler began his first term as a representative 6 years ago at age 23.
You know, obviously we deal with bureaucrats, we deal with state departments, and so when I get a farmer that calls me that, you know, the DNR maybe is pulling his leg a little bit and I can come in there and be an advocate for him, that's exciting and that's fun.
Primary elections in Iowa are set to take place on June 7th. With just 3 weeks until South Dakota's primary election, we want to help you get to know the candidates. Since the Democrats running for statewide offices are uncontested, over the next 3 weeks we'll be focusing on the Republican ballot. We've invited the men and women running for governor, U.S. House, and U.S. Senate to join us for Inside KELOLAND.
If you have questions for the candidates, we'd like to include them in the conversation. All you need to do is send an email to kellocandidatequestions@nexstar.tv. We also have included the link to the email right here on KELOLAND.com. To celebrate Police Week this year, Sioux Falls Police had a dunk tank on Tuesday. The officers could buy throws to get a chance to dunk their co-workers. K9 Hugo even decided to get in on the fun.
Here you can see him walk up and press the lever to dump former K9 handler Lieutenant Nick Butler into the water. The money raised will be donated to Special Olympics South Dakota. That's a look at some of our top stories.
Now let's get one last look at your weather with meteorologist Brian Karstens. Brian?
All right, today's weather, well, overall here, fairly quiet. We've got some patchy fog, as mentioned, but that is going to lift, and then we'll get into the afternoon. A lot of 70s out there. 75 to 80 will be very common. Sioux Falls will be in that range, and Yankton even probably topping 80 for a high. If we generate a shower, thunder shower, it'll be primarily into Minnesota this afternoon. Tomorrow morning, I will put out the possibility of an isolated shower thunderstorm with temperatures starting off in the 50s, but we're going to warm things quickly. The southeastern corner of South Dakota climbing into the 80s. In fact, Yankton might even hit 90 tomorrow. Meanwhile, we've got showers, clouds, northwest winds, and cooling numbers. West River, these afternoon temperatures in the upper 40s in Rapid City. So when we eventually have to do the collision here of the two air masses, there still could be some severe weather if storms fire southwest Minnesota into northern Iowa. Sioux Falls at this point is on the marginal risk. We'll continue to keep an eye on that. But it does not look nearly as strong or organized as last week, and certainly that's good news here. We don't need any frosty weather. I am going to tell you on Saturday morning, we are looking at low to mid 30s in western KELOLAND. In fact, Custer's probably down in the 20s. Sioux Falls at this point, our going low is a little warmer than this, or colder, I should say, but if we get some clouds Saturday morning, that might help southeast South Dakota, southern Minnesota. But Sunday morning is probably the hardest one. Not necessarily frosty in all the spots, but there could be patches of that. Aberdeen would be first on my list, along with Rapid City, and then Sioux Falls at about 36 or 37. So keep that in mind, and we'll continue to just kind of watch those forecasts and the clouds and all of that. 79 today in Sioux Falls. It's a warm day today, and it's going to stay mild going into tomorrow. The southeast here, especially Sioux Falls, warming to 85. Then we really drop Friday, 60, and that might even be optimistic here. Through the weekend, by the way, the conditions here probably featuring some self-destructive sunshine. The air is so cool aloft that any sun that manages to develop, then it'll just kind of cloud back in during the peak heating of the day. 55 Saturday, 61 Sunday, and then we do warm a little bit. Day 6 and day 7, 60s for highs, and that's also true in Aberdeen. But through and through, much of that 7-day period is well below the averages. And 30s, not welcome now, are they? And that's also true in Pierre. I think we've got couple mornings there. Saturday morning and Sunday morning we'll deal with some 30-degree weather. But the end of the forecast, back to the 70s, and Rapid City, after being especially cool on Friday, just 49, then we warm to the mid-60s by Monday and Tuesday. Find out more coverage online at KELOLAND.com.